a huge role in treatment outcome and long-term sobriety. Today, we are grateful owners of Renaissance Ranch with our sons and know addiction is a family illness, and families can find healing and connection when they are willing to learn more about recovery. If you have a loved one suffering from addiction, don't wait to seek help. Join us in our online Christ-centered family education classes that are open to the public at no charge. Look for us at renaissanceranch.com.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
We do have some rain coming down in some parts of the valley. We've had it off and on for quite some time out west along I-80. It's also moving into south of Utah County, but for right now, we're looking at dry roads on your Salt Lake County freeways and our main secondaries, where we are also enjoying good speeds and no other problems to wrap up the noon hour. For 160 years, the Salvation Army has been standing strong, serving those in need. This Salvation Army Week celebrates This Salvation Army Week celebrates by giving $160 to help serve a Utah family in need. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio,
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Wind and blowing dust, plus your normal springtime allergens, creating a dizzying mix of issues for folks around the area.
With the seasonal change, as you may know, we're in Utah and the weather can change in a matter of days. So sometimes we would have a stretch of good weather and then snow and then good weather again.
The time is 1 o'clock on Tuesday, May 13th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we'll talk about the current air quality conditions and how you can tackle worsening allergens even in good weather. Also this hour,
they truly be a place that Mill Creek residents can be proud of and want to come and hang out.
We'll take you to Mill Creek for progress on the city's newest city center development. But first, our top stories. A man shot early this morning during an officer-involved shooting in Ogden is stable.
During the encounter, the suspect armed himself and threatened the officer with a pair of knives that had been concealed in his pockets. The suspect advanced towards the officer despite orders not to do so. The officer fired his handgun, striking the suspect.
Ogden Police Captain Matthew Ward says they aren't releasing the man's identity at this time. The officer in the shooting was not hurt. He has been placed on administrative leave while the Weber County Attorney's Office investigates. Our top national story from ABC News. President Trump is in Saudi Arabia as part of a three-nation Mideast tour. So far, the president has received a warm welcome from Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The president also gave a foreign policy speech saying he wants to make a deal with Iran.
They cannot have a nuclear weapon. This is an offer that will not last forever. The time is right now for them to choose. Right now, we don't have a lot of time to wait.
Business leaders from Amazon, BlackRock, OpenAI are also in Saudi Arabia for the president's trip. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says that he will be waiting for Russian President Vladimir Putin in the Turkish capital this week to conduct face-to-face talks about the war. Putin hasn't said yet whether he will be at the talks. The head of the largest health insurer in the country is stepping down.
United Health CEO Andrew Whitty says he's leaving for personal reasons, but his resignation comes as United faces one of the most challenging periods in its history. Since the December murder of company executive Brian Thompson, United has been sharply criticized over its coverage and denials of claims. United Health revenue topped $400 billion last year, but this year the company has suspended its full financial outlook, saying higher than expected medical costs have made predicting the financial future difficult. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Government data shows egg prices have declined for the first time since October. The average price for a dozen grade A eggs fell to $5.12 last month after reaching a record $6.23 in March. That's according to the Consumer Price Index released today. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow down by 174 points, sitting at 42,236. S&P 500 up by 57 points, and the Nasdaq, it's up by 340 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
No accidents, no delays. That's on the Valley freeways and our main secondaries. We do have a right lane blocked with orange cones. This construction is southbound I-15 approaching 6 North. Don't miss the Rocky Mountain Gun Show at Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy, May 17th and 18th. Get 500 rounds of 9mm ammo for just $85. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
We are expected to hit a high today of 59, 50% chance of showers. That chance of showers growing to a 60% chance by tomorrow. Right now, 51 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Troy, can you believe Memorial Day is almost here?
Pretty exciting.
Pretty exciting?
Yeah.
That's all you got for the official start to camping season and our entire reason for living?
I am excited, yes. What do you want from me?
Get pumped, man. It's camping Christmas. Kind of a big deal.
Oh, it's a huge flippin' deal. That's why Bish's is already celebrating Memorial Day with big deals on all RVs. We're selling travel trailers starting under $139 per month on approved credit.
And don't forget no tariff fees on new in-stock RVs.
Plus 90 days of all play and no pay OAC.
And clearance pricing on all remaining 2024s while they last.
We're even delivering select RVs same day so you can camp right away.
Same day camping? That is a big flippin' deal.
Told you, camping season is a big deal. So come get the real big deals during the Memorial Day sales event happening right now at Bish's RV of Salt Lake and American Fork, where memories begin.
Based on approved credit, 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock numbers 90452-81733. Subject to prior sale. See dealer for details.
Progressive has great customer service, and it's easy to reach us because great and easy is the way to be. Like salads. Great for you, and so easy you can put any group of veggies in a bowl and it's a salad. A full carrot with a head of cabbage? Weird, but still a salad. One radish and a couple of green beans? Also a salad. 14 blueberries, half an onion, and a sunchoke? Odd, yes, but an odd salad. So contact Progressive's customer service by phone, app, or online. It's great and easy, just like salad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
If you've looked outside your window over the past day, you're bound to have seen it, all that dust. The fierce winds over the last few days blowing in dust and other allergens from the south. Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The dust that has been irritating folks around Utah, causing cold-like and allergen-like symptoms. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson begins our story today, getting to the heart of this nasty dust and dirt in the air.
Folks, we've had some pretty bad air quality down in Utah Valley and Salt Lake Valley. We've reached the orange and even red, which is unhealthy for sensitive groups, but then downright unhealthy, which is red in Utah Valley. It's all courtesy of those strong southwest winds yesterday that ushered in some nasty dust from the west desert. Today we'll see improving air quality. Temperatures will top in the upper 50s. That's 30 degrees cooler than yesterday with a chance for showers, hoping to really clean this air out. I got 60 degrees tomorrow with another chance for showers, maybe even thunderstorms. There is a chance for some lingering showers into Thursday.
Air quality in Salt Lake is improving, but it's still not great. This morning we ranked number 4 in terms of most polluted cities. To continue our coverage of Utah's air, we are joined by Bryce Bird, director of the Utah Division of Air Quality. And Bryce, don't you cringe when you hear that we're ranked number 4?
I do. Of course, air pollution is a challenge for us. Some things we can do something about, and unfortunately, like a day like or yesterday afternoon and last night, that was the wind in the West Desert, and that was the challenge that we had.
So tell us how the air quality around the state is doing right now.
Actually, back to the good category. With the south winds before the front came, as was just discussed, we saw that blowing dust in the area where the cold front met the warm front, met the south winds. That's where we saw the concentrations at the highest. And as soon as the cold front passed through, of course, those winds subsided, and the dust that we were experiencing also was able to fall out at that point and not be a concern for us moving forward.
So what is the air quality index in Salt Lake City?
Right now, we're all the way back to green today on the hourly values. But of course, if you look at the 24-hour average, we were above the health standard at a number of our monitors, and hourly values were up into the red and even purple air category in a few areas.
Talk to us a little bit about how this dust affects our air quality in ways that the inversion doesn't.
Really, these are dust particles that come from either disturbed areas or playa areas, so dry lake areas in the West Desert. I know there's been a lot of concern about the Great Salt Lake. Most of the high observations that we saw were actually south of the Great Salt Lake, so that would lead us to believe that everything from farming, construction activities, or just disturbed land out to the west of us was the source of that dust. Once you're breathing those particles in, of course, your body treats them the same. They're the larger particles your body can deal with through your respiratory system. Kind of like we do with allergies and other things. It causes those direct health impacts and direct responses to that. Of course, the smaller particles and prolonged exposure leads to the health concerns that we're more worried about. Again, with dust events, they're usually short-term, whereas with our winter inversions, of course, those can go on for days. And with our summer ozone or wildfires, again, those can be impacts that go on for days at a time.
So is dust more or less harmful than the other pollutants?
Really, the health studies show that it is the same. Again, it's the actual particles that impact your lungs. There can be things that are carried with the dust that are more harmful. We've heard about things like arsenic being a part of the dust that emanates from the Great Salt Lake. You see lead and sometimes silicates, things like that are maybe more harmful with dust. But really, it's the burden of the particles on your lungs is how the health standards were developed. And so the impacts would be expected to be very similar between the winter inversion particulate matter, smoke particulate matter, or dust particulate matter.
That is the director of the Utah Division of Air Quality, Bryce Bird, and thank you for being with me today. Stay with us. When we come back in just 60 seconds, we'll take a deeper dive into the allergens popping up this spring season.
Hi, it's Cindy Olsen here, and whether it's for mom, sister, daughter, or the new graduate, the perfect gift for her is at the Dave's Bernina Spring Sale in St. George and Provo. Discounts on all Bernina machines with a limited time offer of 48 months, no interest on certain models. Amazing savings on the Bernina 570 and 770 Quilter Edition machines with an incredible low price to add embroidery. Great deals on suitcase systems and big books to help with quilting, serging, and embroidery. Get this. Buy the Bernina 590 or 790 Pro and get free gift bundles worth over $3,600. Bernina quilting machines are simply the best and save thousands of dollars in May while they last. Come in now for bargains on trade-ins, classroom, and demo machines that come with warranties. Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo. Dave's Bernina. Dave'sBernina.com.
The changing of seasons and the windy conditions are wreaking havoc for seasonal allergy sufferers. I spoke with Dr. Sun Win, a family medicine physician with Optum Utah, about ways to minimize the bothersome symptoms. And I also wondered whether climate change is making a difference.
With the seasonal change, as you may know, we in Utah, the weather can change in a matter of days. So sometimes we would have a stretch of good weather and then snow and then good weather again. And so definitely climate change can contribute to the fact that more pollen and more allergic factors can be present in the environment at different times of the years, more commonly than beforehand.
A cold can also present in similar ways to allergies. Is there a way for us to distinguish or whether we're suffering from something like a cold?
Yes, absolutely. And like you alluded to, sometimes they can be quite similar, but they do have differences. And so for allergy, often patients would have things such as watery eye, sneezing, itchiness. Those are not the common symptoms of a cold. Often you think of things like a cough, nasal congestion, which can be present in allergy reaction as well. But a cough, sore throat, headache, feeling tired, fatigue. So they have overlapping symptoms, but also differences in their symptoms. The easiest way to tell is obviously talking to your doctors. A lot of times it can be difficult for the patient to know what it is, but you can kind of potentially identify which one it is based on what provoked it. If you know that you're allergic to certain things and you come into contact with those things, maybe a pet, maybe being exposed to something in the environment, cigarette smoke, something that trigger allergic reaction in the past, and you start having symptoms, that might lead you down more toward a diagnosis of maybe this is an allergic reaction.
Are there any new treatments in the past decade to actually treat allergy symptoms? I know in the past they've actually checked into maybe doing something more extreme, maybe injections, but how can they be treated at this point in time?
Yeah, another good question. I think, yes, we have made some advancement in the treatment of allergy, more specifically severe allergy. I think in terms of mild to moderate allergy, our treatment remains very similar. Most often we can treat with a nasal spray, an oral medication, among other things to treat the symptom of an allergic reaction. Obviously, the best thing to do for treatment of allergy is to remove yourself from being exposed to the factor or the triggering factors that lead to an allergic reaction. That's by far is the best treatment you can do for yourself. So if you know you're allergic to something, remove yourself or try to avoid coming into contact with those things that can trigger your allergic reaction. In terms of treatment for moderate to severe or very severe allergy treatment, yes, injection, immunotherapy medication are some of the newest treatment for allergy. And often we reserve this for patients who have failed other treatment that more accessible and more easily tolerable. And so, yes, there are advancements. I think it's also dependent on what category you fall into, whether or not certain treatment will be right for you. And again, this is a discussion for your doctors to give you the right guidance on what treatment will be best for you. And another thing that you could consider certainly is to get allergy tested. I think it's always come down to, again, the best treatment is to remove yourself from the things that can cause the issue. But if you don't know what could cause the issue, then that makes it very difficult, if not impossible, to do that. And so maybe getting allergic testing, seeing what you are actually allergic to, will give you a better understanding and able to kind of identify those triggers better.
Obviously, we can't remove ourselves totally from the outdoors. Are there some preventative things that we can do, though, when it comes to like spring allergies?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. Sometimes you are allergic to something in the environment. pollen, for example, very common in the summer. And obviously, you want to get out and have a good time with your friend, family, or do things outdoor because those things are healthy for you. So I think being proactive about it, some patients will elect to wear a mask when they do things outdoor to kind of avoid some of those pollen coming into contact with them or inhaling in some of those things that can trigger a reaction. Maybe preemptively, you can take nasal spray or medication before you know that you're going to be outdoor. Those are options as well. The over-the-counter medication, including steroid nasal spray or medication like Zyrtec, can be taken as a prevention medication before you're being exposed to something. If you decided to, I think that it is an option for patients who know they're going to be in an environment where they might have an allergic reaction. Taking those medications in advance can certainly help with that. So that's generally how I think about that.
Now, he also says maintaining a healthy lifestyle builds your immune system. Now, you can hear my full interview with Dr. Nguyen and other health tips on my podcast. Let's Get Moving with Maria is available free at kslnewsradio.com or wherever you get your podcasts. When we come back, we'll get into the latest controversy surrounding refugees coming to the United States. But first, KSL Traffic, it's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style Homegrown Loans. Ricky?
It's quiet out on the roads. I-15 looks great between Ogden and Provo, both directions. The rest of your Valley freeways also quiet, no accidents, no delays. We've had a little bit of rain out to the west along I-80 and some northbound slowing on Mountain View approaching 3500 south due to road work, but overall, not a bad drive at all. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Jeff Kaplan.
His Minute of News is great. It's always entertaining.
I listen to Jeff Kaplan every day.
He gives you important news and traffic and the familiar voice that helps you enjoy the ride home.
I really like Jeff's Minute of News. He's calm and he's balanced.
I really enjoy driving home and just listening to what he's got to say.
Jeff Kaplan gets me home every day.
Join the community that relies on Jeff Kaplan. He has you covered. Afternoons from 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
If your water heater's over 10 to 15 years old, congratulations. You've beat the average. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I love hearing stories of people having water heaters that are really old and they're still doing their job. Unfortunately, most of us won't be that lucky. And when water heaters fail, it's usually in spectacularly inconvenient fashion. Whether it's an unexpected cold shower when we're already running late for work, or worse yet, coming home to a flooded basement, it's never fun. If you'd like to look into replacing your water heater before it fails, Any Hour Services is having a sale for any homeowners listening. Whether you're looking for a new tanked water heater or you want to see what upgrading to a tankless would cost, the plumbers at Any Hour Services can show you what options are available. And right now, you can save $400 on a tanked water heater or $1,200 on a tankless. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services today and schedule your free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Did you know 96% of Americans lose an average of $111,000 in Social Security income? And it's because they claim their benefits at the wrong time. Don't lose $111,000 in Social Security income that's rightfully yours. Learn how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits on Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL, News Radio 102.7.
Hi, Susan. We haven't seen or heard from you.
Cold.
We would like to locate Joyce.
The mysteries that made podcast history
Cherie Warren disappeared.
are now together for free at kslpodcasts.com.
I'm Dave Cawley, the host of Cold. Join me for Season 1, The Susan Powell Case Files, Season 2, Justice for Joyce, and Season 3, The Search for Cherie. Listen anytime for free at kslpodcasts.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Stylin'. Or possibility number 24, the latest software, upgrade, or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds, or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
And 6/22/25. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See dealer for full details and disclaimers.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning, life, and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. The Trump administration has been pulling back and putting caps on refugee programs, slowing the flow of folks coming into the United States. But just yesterday, they welcomed a group of white South Africans to the U.S. as refugees. Now, the president claims they were facing racial discrimination and genocide and will now be protected. It has sparked controversy and claims of racism. ABC's Shannon Kingston explains the situation on the Start Here podcast by ABC News, and here's show host Brad Milkey.
Welcome. Welcome to the United States of America.
If you were at Dulles International Airport yesterday in Washington, you might have seen a remarkable sight. Refugees arriving for the first time in the U.S.
Many of us, our families, have had a journey not that different from the journey that you are embarking on today.
They were greeted by State Department officials. They got little American flags to wave, the whole 9 yards. What you might not have known if you were watching them is that these refugees have ignited controversy on multiple continents.
The Trump administration has accused South Africa's government of racially discriminating against them.
These emigres are from South Africa. Specifically, they're Afrikaners who descended from Dutch colonists who settled in Africa in the 1600s.
59 refugees landed from South Africa, all of them Afrikaners, all of them white.
That's ABC's Shannon Kingston, who covers the State Department. And if you're wondering how white Africans ended up as refugees in America, she's here to help.
To understand this, we have to go all the way back to the apartheid era.
It's the government's fear of what they've called the Black Menace that dominates their policies.
South Africa is the only place in Africa which will be able to remain in the hands of the white man.
So, little history. Up until 1990, South Africa was ruled by a white minority that used power and violence to keep the country apart. Apartheid, segregated by race.
South Africa is a country of many races. There is room for all the various races in this country.
Nelson Mandela was sent to prison for protesting, but eventually enough pressure was put on the government to end the policy. In South Africa's first free and fair election, Mandela was elected president. And while whites were afraid of retribution, he was promoting peaceful reconciliation.
I greet you all in the name of peace.
But while black South Africans got the vote, many white South African families kept their money, their power, and crucially, their land. A government audit in 2017 found that white people made up just 9% of the country's population, but still owned more than 70% of its farmland.
Part of apartheid's legacy is the South African government's efforts to kind of bring about some land reform to give people who have been historically disenfranchised access to the country's resources, as well as violent farm attacks on white and black landowners.
These attacks on farms have been relatively isolated, but they are unsettling. Imagine being a farmer, a bunch of people show up in the middle of the night and say, "Your people took this long ago. It now belongs to us," and they demand you leave to avoid a beating. Here in the U.S., these stories have galvanized right-wing media outlets.
they happen to be white. But whether they're white or black makes no difference to me. But white farmers are being brutally killed and their land is being confiscated in South Africa.
There is no persecution of white African or South Africans in South Africa.
The South African government is saying there is no evidence of persecution, but the State Department has pushed back on it. They say that's exactly what a government who is persecuting a population would say, but it doesn't overcome the fact that there's just really not a whole lot of evidence that any kind of mistreatment is happening on a widespread scale.
Recently, Shannon says, the Trump administration decided to get involved.
What appears to have caught President Trump's attention is a controversial law that went into effect in South Africa this year. It enables the government to seize land without offering any compensation, although the South African government says absolutely zero land has been seized under it so far.
Cut to yesterday, with dozens of Afrikaners arriving with their luggage, which to most Americans might not be a big deal either way, right? It's a few dozen people. Who cares? But that's just it. 59 refugees from South Africa is 59 more than we've admitted from a lot of other countries recently.
The reason this is so controversial is it's all going down at a time where other refugee admissions have basically fallen to zero.
This is why critics say it's a concerning development. After all, you can say refugees should all be treated the same, but we do prioritize certain groups all the time. We prioritized Cubans fleeing Castro. Then we prioritized Afghans fleeing the Taliban. Now, white Africans fleeing black Africans have effectively jumped to the front of the line. This has even angered groups who are traditionally willing to take in anybody and everybody.
The program no longer aligns with where we are as a church and what we're about.
Last night, the presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church, which often helps to resettle refugees, told ABC News Live they are ending their relationship with the federal government over this
particular situation of admitting Afrikaners as refugees that really meet no definition of a refugee.
The Trump administration says that this is just the beginning. This is just the first wave. They're still taking applications in South Africa. They're vetting people, and they're anticipating resettling more people down the line.
The U.S. has a long history of taking in the poor and destitute. These South Africans, like any other refugees, will be sheltered by nonprofits as they make their new lives here. But as they get settled, their new neighbors will be arguing over exactly what kinds of refugees should be welcomed here.
And that is ABC's Brad Milkey on the Start Here podcast, the executive producer of the show, Andy Cupp joining me. Andy, this is kind of difficult to wrap your head around because we don't often think of white people as being refugees or being discriminated against.
Yeah, here in the United States especially. I mean, we've taken in refugees from countries that are predominantly white. You know, the former Yugoslavia, with all of those wars, we took in people. But I think for most Americans, this is just really weird to see whites in the minority in a country like South Africa. And it's still helping them out regardless. It's just different, hard for us to wrap our heads around.
All right, thank you. President Trump is making the first international trip of his term. He is visiting 3 countries in the Middle East. And we're going to get more on that story coming up right here on KSL News Radio. Hello, it's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Rain in the forecast, but we are still in a drought. Water-wise landscaping tips that you need to know. And new community developments in Salt Lake County, but first traffic.
A stalled vehicle at the ramp to southbound I-15 at 7200 South. Maria?
KSL's top local stories in 1 minute, but first, ABC News.
And demonstrations today as a House committee takes up the Republican budget resolution package. Key programs, including Medicaid, could be slashed.
Opponents say the House GOP package would grow the ranks of the uninsured by more than 13 million. Several protesters in wheelchairs tried to block access to one hearing focused on finding savings in the Medicaid program for the poor. Meanwhile, a handful of GOP moderates rejected the drafters' proposal to raise the cap on the state and local tax deduction from $10,000 to $30,000 for middle-income earners.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. At an economic forum in Saudi Arabia, President Trump announcing a $600 billion Saudi commitment to invest in U.S. businesses. The president also says the U.S. plans to lift sanctions against Syria under its new government. A day after Hamas freed American hostage Idan Alexander from Gaza, his family says he's at a hospital in Tel Aviv for evaluation and has plans to return to his home in New Jersey soon. This is ABC News.
Time now for KSL's top local story. The owners of the Provo Town Center Mall say it's time to tear a good portion of it down to keep up with the times. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson explains.
Brixton Capital owns the mall, and they sent plans to Provo City saying they want to demolish a big chunk of the interior and create a walkable plaza in its place. It would be surrounded by restaurants, shops, and also mixed in with office space and housing. This mini-town is supposed to boost foot traffic and is similar to redevelopments at other malls around the country that have helped keep them in business.
The Daily Herald reports Target, JCPenney, and Cinemark would remain standing as the development's anchor stores. It's been at least 6 months since the new Great Salt Lake license plate got enough applications to move forward, but still nobody has received their new plate. Utah DMV Director Monty Roberts says the plate still needs to pass a new legislative design review board before they can start making them. But he says once that happens, it should only take a few weeks to start rolling out.
I would imagine, given the delay, that we'll, do our best to try and get it in our system as soon as we can, because we know people are waiting.
Robert says the plate sponsors and the board have also been considering some different designs which could also be contributing to the holdup. Senator John Curtis is introducing a new bipartisan bill to strengthen water quality and storage infrastructure across the western U.S. It mirrors another bill going through the House. In a statement, Curtis says the bill, co-sponsored by Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, would make it easier for local governments and utilities to invest in critical water infrastructure projects. Fluoride supplements could be gone by the end of the year if Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy gets his way. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The possible ban comes after Utah's been ordered to stop adding fluoride to the public water supplies. The same bill banning it makes it easier for pharmacies to prescribe the supplements to parents and other people who want to keep using them. Assistant Director of the Utah Dental Association, Becky Waters, says it makes sense for Americans to use the supplements because of our diets.
We need to do everything we can to counteract the effects of the high sugar, the high acid diets that we take in.
Waters says the lack of fluoride can create a long line of dental problems in the future.
Now, the possible ban is part of Kennedy's Make America Healthy Again agenda. He says it's long overdue. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 134 points, a bit of an improvement from earlier. It sits at 42,280. S&P is up by about 60 points, and the NASDAQ is up 348 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
It looks like they've been able to move the stalled vehicle out of traffic on that collector ramp from 7200 to southbound I-15. It had been in the right lane, but overall quiet on the Valley freeways, no accidents and no delays. Water belongs in pipes, not in your yard or on your floor. Call Utah Utility Pro, your leak detection and repair specialist. Water, sewer, main, and gas lines, Utah Utility Pro, utahutilitypro.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
50% chance of showers today, increasing to a 60% chance by tomorrow. 50 degrees now at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Join Mike Stevens of Capital Wealth Advisors for Retire Right Radio, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. That's Retire Right Radio with Mike Stevens, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
This Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then, browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes a new inventory every day. Then, they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. You're invited to visit the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
Spring is the perfect time to refresh your home, and Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning is here to help. Right now, when you get the carpet of 3 rooms cleaned, you'll get an additional room cleaned absolutely free. And for a whole home refresh, take 20% off upholstery cleaning. Unlike traditional cleaners, Zero Res uses patented ZR water, a powerful cleaning solution that lifts dirt and grime without harsh chemicals or detergents. That means your carpets and upholstery stay cleaner longer and dry in hours, not days. It's safe for kids, pets, and the environment. Plus, every cleaning comes with a Zero Res Gotta Love It guarantee. If you're not completely satisfied, Zero Res will re-clean for free within 30 days. Don't miss out on these limited time offers because spring cleaning starts now. Get started today at zerores.com and mention KSL to lock in your deal.
Something about me, I don't like to settle. I work hard to be my best self, and I want a vehicle that matches. So I'm shopping for a Cadillac because their innovation and craftsmanship are top of the line. With a whole line of electric SUVs packed with state-of-the-art technology, I know I'll be driving away in redefined luxury. Help all of us at Jerry Seiner Cadillac celebrate our new location with an incredible buying experience for your dream car. Come in today to experience the Seiner difference.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. There's rain in the forecast over the next few days, but we are still in a drought. In fact, last month, Governor Cox signed an executive order declaring a state of emergency in 17 of Utah's 29 counties due to the drought conditions. Many of those counties are in southern and central Utah, but Tooele and Juab counties are also among them. Part of the governor's order calls for Utahns to conserve water, saying that this summer could be pretty challenging due to the lower snowpack in the central and southern parts of the state. That and the price of water is going up as well. And it got us thinking, what are some good ways to conserve water? It was our question of the day yesterday. So what are you doing in your landscape to conserve water? It's especially relevant as we get into these nicer months and we start getting into the dirt, gardening and landscaping, Shelby Cooley, Water Conservation Manager at the Utah Division of Water Resources, joins me today to share some tips on how to save water when you're out in your yard. Shelby, thanks for being here. What is your number one tip for conserving water with things like gardens, yards, and other landscaping?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Maria. You hit the nail on the head. We recommend starting outdoors because about 60% of our residential water is used outdoors on our landscape, so we have a great potential to save outside. There are some different things that people can do. One of my favorites is to participate in a rebate or an incentive program. We have landscape incentives available for replacing grass with water-wise landscaping, and about 63% of Utah's population resides in an area with these programs. Mm-hmm. We recommend just starting small. So some small grass areas, if you have a park strip, side yard, you have an odd piece of grass that you're not using that you'd like to turn into a perennial flower bed, that's a great way to get started.
As I understand it, these programs vary from area to area. How do people find out more about the programs available for them?
Yeah, great question. Everyone can get connected to rebate and incentive programs by visiting slowtheflow.org. We've got everything linked out on that page, so that's the catch-all. Mm-hmm.
You mentioned starting small because we know changing landscaping can be pretty expensive, so give us some other recommendations.
Yeah, so some other recommendations are more of just the behavioral recommendations. We put out a weekly lawn watering guide that goes out every Friday, and a big potential to save is just by not overwatering your grass. So we have some rain forecasted, and if you get significant rain, we suggest skipping a watering and following that guide. Much of northern Utah doesn't even have watering recommended for this week with the forecasted rain. And some other things are just to check your soil. An easy test to do is to use a screwdriver in your lawn to probe, and if it goes in easily, that means that you've got sufficient moisture. And then we also recommend just prioritizing your tree health and hand watering trees as needed. The grass may not need it, but some of your other plants may need a drink.
Shelby, let's talk for a minute about what is considered water-wise, because we're not talking about just rocks, right?
Yes, no, definitely. So these programs do have requirements that require perennial plant coverage. A lot of the state requires about 50% of plant coverage at maturity. So we're trying not to heat up landscapes, keep them diverse and beautiful. There are also requirements to have adequate coverage of mulch in the landscape to help prevent weeds and also help the plants maintain moisture, and also converting from spray sprinklers to drip irrigation to cut down on that water use.
Let's talk about mulch for a second. How much does that help? How does it help?
Yeah, so mulch is really good at keeping the moisture in. So we recommend about 3 to 4 inches is the industry best practice of putting mulch around. It helps just cool down the plants, and it provides a nice barrier to help prevent weeds from popping through.
I got a little postcard in the mail saying, keep it real, don't put in the artificial turf. Talk about artificial turf. And first of all, there are some laws against artificial turf, aren't there?
Yeah, and many of the programs throughout the state don't allow artificial turf. There are some areas that do allow it, in like a decorative application, but most of this program does not incentivize artificial turf, just to take into account the environmental concerns and not wanting to get into anything that's not considered to be a natural replacement for the grass.
Yeah, describe for us why artificial turf is not environmentally friendly.
So artificial turf a lot of times is made from plastic, and it can also heat up. So a lot of times it can be hotter than some of the bare surfaces or just even plain dirt or soil. And so that's something that we've gotten away from in this program, and are just incentivizing the replacement of living materials that will help add diversity, be friendly to pollinators, and have other benefits like that.
Shelby, how tough has it been to get the message out? It's kind of hard to talk about a drought when we're seeing rain.
Yes. Yeah. No, I think it's really important to remember that we live in Utah. We are one of the driest states in the nation. So drought or no drought, we need to make sure we're using our water responsibly, because we're either preparing for a drought or we're in a drought. So always being mindful is just the Utah way.
Anything else you'd like to add to help incentivize people to maybe start thinking about some of these things?
Yeah, we really appreciate all of the Utahns that have stepped up. We've been saving millions of gallons of water over the past couple of years, and we need to keep this momentum going because we never know what the next year could bring. So I definitely encourage Utahns to start small. A great way to do that is by identifying a small area of your yard where you'd like to convert from grass to something lower water, like plants, mulch, and drip. We also have rebates available for smart irrigation controllers and also for toilet replacement for older toilets. And you can get connected to those programs at slowtheflow.org.
One thing I do want to mention is that people want to make sure that they check out the program first before they start flipping things, because there is some documentation required for these things.
Yes, thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, so there is a requirement that there is living grass in place. So don't start your project until you've been approved. Make sure you apply and are approved prior to removing any grass or starting any of the project.
Shelby, thanks so much for being with me. That is Shelby Cooley, Water Conservation Manager at the Utah Division of Water Resources. We'll be right back with our question of the day in just 60 seconds.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
For months, President Trump has touted lowering egg prices. For the most part, people didn't see those lower prices, but now it's a reality. Egg prices fell 12.7% last month, the biggest monthly decline since 1984. U.S. Department of Agriculture reported last week that a dozen large white-shelled eggs cost about $3.30 on average. This leads us into today's question of the day, the chance for you to chime in on how the news stories of the day are impacting your life. We are dedicating this segment each day to connect with you, and we want to hear your comments and concerns, and we'll do that by posing a question of the day. Then all you have to do is respond on the KSL News Radio app, or you can leave us a voicemail on the phone. It's easy to respond on the app, though, super easy. Just open the app. At the bottom, you will see the call-in tab. Just click on the tab, tell us your first name and where you're calling from, and then give us a quick response to the question. Now, if you'd like to call, you can leave us a message at 801-575-4606. And each day at 1:35, we'll share some of your thoughts and hear from experts who can speak to them. So, today's question of the day. What items have you seen prices come down on recently? And on the other side of that, what items have you seen the prices go up on recently? Again, just leave us your name, where you're calling from, and give us your response on the app at the call-in tab at the bottom, or call us 801-575-4606. And that question is also posted on Facebook. Just look for Maria Shilaos. In national political news, Republicans have unveiled the long-awaited tax portion of the president's big, beautiful bill. Midday executive producer Andy Cupp is here with details.
So, Maria, some of the most significant tax cuts in this bill include the elimination of taxes on tips, taxes on overtime, and taxes on auto loan insurance. That was a new one for me. I didn't realize that was a thing. The bill also calls for more tax relief on middle and low-income seniors. Billy Hesterman, the president of the Utah Taxpayers Association, spoke to Dave and Dujanovic this morning about the proposals. He says tax cuts are, of course, great, but he worries about the overall deficit.
We still have to look at our overall spending and realize that right now, the services we're asking from our government are costing more than what we're giving it. And so eventually, logic would seem to say that we're going to have to figure out how to pay for all of it at some point in time. We just haven't decided when we're going to make that bill due yet.
Hesterman says fixing the budget won't be an overnight fix. It's going to take time, and it's probably going to be a little painful.
It's not going to happen in one day or in one bill.
Right.
It's going to be taking a culture of all our elected officials over the next 10 to 15 years to say, we've got to figure this out. We need to figure out how to reduce the spending and make sure that the programs are running efficiently, make sure that we're cutting the fat from the government, but still making sure that we're also not taking away those things that really are benefiting all of us as a people and as a country.
The plan also calls for $715 billion in cuts to Medicaid programs, but Republicans are still split on whether or not to move forward with this. Maria?
Okay, so where does this budget sit now?
Since the budget is only reconciliation, meaning it's a slimmed down version that only requires a simple majority to pass both chambers, it's going to hopefully go fairly quickly, but the plan also calls for adding $4 trillion to the debt ceiling. So Congress has until mid-July to address this or risk defaulting.
Thanks, Andy. In just a few minutes, we'll chat with the mayor of Milk Creek about new developments in his city. But first, to check on traffic, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
We are starting to see some slower speeds getting by this construction where a right lane is blocked, southbound I-15 approaching 6 North, and a report of a possible accident at Main Street near 2100 South. Advanced Window Products, $2,500 off 10 windows or more. AdvancedWindows.com. Affordable windows guaranteed. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
If you want to lose weight fast with an all-natural program, I want to tell you about a great program that I've been following, Salt Lake City Fat Loss. I've lost more than 40 pounds with the help of Salt Lake City Fat Loss, 25 pounds of it in the first 60 days. Many people lose up to a pound per day. Besides looking better and feeling more confident, I no longer suffer from back spasms after working in the yard. I have more energy than I've had in years, and I just plain feel better about myself. With Salt Lake City Fat Loss, there are no injections, no surgery, no medications. Plus, it's not as expensive as other programs because there are no prepackaged meals or other products that you're required to buy. And it's easy to stick with because you lose weight quickly, and it's simple to follow, just a simple combination of foods that melt that stored fat. Go to slcfatloss.com to learn more and to save $200 right now. You can also call 801-450-1882, slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for.
Get it. It's time to spring into summer with Soda Weight Loss, because right now you'll get our biggest discount of the year.
Are you serious?
Just 3 weeks in, and the pounds are dropping off very quickly. I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I let go of 50 pounds. It felt unreal. I was so proud of myself. My body did exactly what it wanted to do. I just gave it its tools.
Let's spring into summer right now with Soda Weight Loss. If you want to look like this for summer, now is the time to join America's #1 weight loss company for client satisfaction and results.
Remember, this is our best offer of the year, so let's go.
Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Peyton was a very kind and giving person. At 15 years old, he sustained life-threatening injuries from a motorcycle accident that took his life. His family felt like Peyton would want to save others and made the decision to donate his organs. Because of their generosity, his organs saved a 2-year-old girl, a teenage boy, and others that were desperate in need of life-saving organs. Go to donorconnect.life and read about what it takes to become a donor. Did you know many people think that they're too old or not in good enough health to be a donor? Anyone can be a donor. If you were told that it could save the life for someone close to you, or even a stranger, would you donate? Finding out more on why you should become a donor is easy. DonorConnect.life can walk you through the process and what it takes to simply sign up. Check yes to become a donor when you renew your driver's license. Give hope. Heal life. DonorConnect.life.
Thinking about retirement? Make sure a My Social Security account is a part of your plan. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can find out if you're eligible to receive benefits, compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates, view spousal benefit estimates, and more. Plan for your future. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
This is Midday with Maria Shilaos. The city of Mill Creek's new city center took a major step forward today with the official groundbreaking of Phase 2 in the project. This whole area, located between 13th East and Highland Drive near 33rd South, is being redeveloped into a new kind of downtown. Mill Creek Mayor Jelf Silvestrini was at today's groundbreaking. Mayor, thanks for being with us and joining us on Midday. Talk a little bit more about the project and what's in this next phase.
So, hi, Maria. So, Phase 2 is actually part of the original plan. The original plan called for a hardscape with a skate loop and a splash pad on it, and then a more green section that we're going to build next, which will have about 300 trees on it and some grass, as well as a skateboard park, a miniature golf course, Splash Creek for kids, and a big playground.
Mayor, Mill Creek's a pretty new city, less than 10 years old right now?
Yeah, it's we're just coming up on our 9th anniversary.
So how does this project help the city develop its own kind of special identity?
So, when we incorporated, folks kind of asked, where's our downtown? And this area was redeveloping anyway. So what we've really done is put a plan to that and, get contributions from some of the surrounding development to build a community gathering place here, which is what this has turned into. It's actually been popular and well used, and programming there is great. And I think our community, as well as our neighbors from Salt Lake and South Salt Lake and lots of other places, are enjoying it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not just your own residents that are enjoying these areas.
Right. I mean, this area in Mill Creek is, pretty much on our border with Salt Lake City, like, within 3 blocks. And then it's also close to South Salt Lake as well. So we have folks from all over the valley. I've talked to folks from Draper. I've talked to folks from Nephi come on up to check it out. It's actually kind of a cool place, and it's only going to get better.
So this phase 2, how much does it cost?
So the price tag for this is $13 million, and we have raised about 75% of that money from grants. We have $2.5 million from the National Park Service. We have between the federal and the state government on some COVID money and some outdoor recreation money. We have about another $4 million in that pot, and Salt Lake County has kicked in $1.5 million from their Tourism, Recreation, Culture, and Convention Center Fund. And so the nice thing about this is that everybody's going to get to enjoy this with little cost to Mill Creek taxpayers.
Mm-hmm. Give us the timeline. When do you hope to complete this?
So we're breaking ground now. There's some utility work that needs to be done, so you won't see much happening for at least through the summer. And then we're shooting to be done with this, have it built by near the end of the summer of 2026. So, about a year and a quarter from now.
So is there a phase 3?
There could be. There's a little section that runs over to 13th East. We haven't planned for that yet, but, if people enjoy this phase 2 as much as phase 1, then there may be phase 3.
When I saw the big city center originally, the big building, I thought, what in the world is the city putting in there? Tell us how you're using the building, your city center.
And I encourage people to visit us at Mill Creek City Hall. The ground floor is a public market, so that's space reserved for the public to come and hang out. There's free Wi-Fi there. There are 2 restaurants in there, as well as exhibition space. Right now we have Craft Lake City in there, and we've had a lot of other things. The top floor of the building on the 6th is a ballroom and meeting room space that we make available for government entities, nonprofits, and we rent it out for weddings and corporate events. And then our Unified Police Precinct is in the building on floor 3, and the city uses floors 4 and 5 for our operations.
Mayor, appreciate your time. Thanks for being with me today.
Sure. Take care.
You too.
Oh.
And that is Jeff Silvestrini. He's the mayor of the city of Mill Creek, joining us today.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Businesses around the Delta Center already seeing less visitors as renovations on the arena begin.
Generally, it'll bring a lot more business. It just might take a little bit longer for that business to generate and stuff. But I don't know, could go either way.
The time is 2 o'clock on Tuesday, May 13th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, the message from nearby restaurants facing a difficult forecast.
With me in them, I get more madder. They just push me into there.
Also, this hour, change was coming to Utah schools to address unnecessary seclusion practices. But first, our top stories. Everyone is able to return home safely after a structure fire in Kearns last night started by a lithium-ion battery. Unified Fire Authority says a charging lithium-ion battery was likely the cause for a shed fire, which quickly spread to 3 other nearby sheds because of the high winds. They're asking people to be careful when charging their electric bikes, scooters, and other devices. And officials say don't use an extension cord, don't leave them charging overnight, and keep them away from combustible materials. Our top national story from ABC News. Republicans are trying to get the president's big, beautiful bill through Congress. The budget package would make 2017 tax cuts permanent and cut spending on health care and food assistance.
Opponents say the House GOP package would grow the ranks of the uninsured by more than 13 million. Several protesters in wheelchairs tried to block access to one hearing focused on finding savings in the Medicaid program for the poor. Meanwhile, a handful of GOP moderates rejected the drafters' proposal to raise the cap on the state and local tax deduction from $10,000 to $30,000 for middle-income earners. Republicans from high-tax blue states want to see no cap at all. Without their support, the bill might not pass the House. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
The president of the Utah Taxpayers Association, Billy Hesterman, says if you decrease tax revenues, you also need to make some deep cuts to spending.
Right now, the services we're asking from our government are costing more than what we're giving it. And so eventually, logic would seem to say that we're going to have to figure out how to pay for all of it at some point in time.
Hesterman tells Dave and Dujanovic officials will need to look at where to cut spending over the next 10 to 15 years. The American who was held captive in Gaza is one step closer to heading home. Idan Alexander is currently at a hospital in Tel Aviv, and his parents say he will be back home in New Jersey soon. Idan's dad, Adi, said that the entire family is grateful he's home.
It is wonderful to have Idan home. Really a gift from God to watch him hug Yael, his brother, and his sister, knowing that his suffering is over and that our family can finally begin to heal.
Alexander, who left the U.S. to join the Israeli army, was captured by Hamas on October 7th. Taking a look at your money at this moment, it has been a mixed day for the markets. The Dow right now down by 269 points at the close, sitting at 42,140. S&P up by 42 points, and the Nasdaq up by 301 points. Traffic and weather brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
It is kind of gloomy out there, and we do have light rain in some spots of the Greater Valley area, but it's not impeding your drive. What is slowing traffic? A right lane blocked with roadwork southbound I-15 approaching 6 North. Save up to 20% when you bring a group of 10 or more, or subscribe to Design a Series with 3+ concerts that match your vibe. Tickets at DeerValleyMusicFestival.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
As our rainstorm arrives, the temperature dropping here downtown. 50% chance of rain today, 60% chance tomorrow. Right now, 49 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. And let's face it, it's time to update the look of your home's exterior. When was that thing built? In the 50s, 70s, 90s? The The 2000s? Well, it's looking like it. Faded siding, drafty windows, leaky gutters. It's time to take action now. RGS Exteriors has been taking Utah homes from drab to fab for over 5 generations. We only use the highest quality materials like James Hardy siding and gutter topper gutter covers. You will be blown away by how much different and better and awesome your house can look. Your neighbors will be jealous, your home value will go up, and most of all, you're going to love it. Everything we do comes with our industry-leading 10-year everything guarantee, so you can sleep like a baby, knowing if anything goes wrong, you're 100% covered. For a free estimate on your gutters, windows, siding, or anything on your outside of your home, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com.
Utah Jazz fans are still trying to absorb the news of last night's lottery selection.
The 5th pick in the NBA draft will be made by the Utah Jazz.
It comes after one of the worst seasons the Jazz have ever faced. Thanks for tuning in to Midday with Maria Shilaos. The heart of the story are the disappointed fans. Several folks spoke to KSL last night after that lottery pick.
Just a shocker. I mean, we had the lowest amount of wins. So I mean, I just thought we were going to be at least in the top 3.
Very shocked to fall down that low, but it could be worse. It could have been Washington. Washington dropped all the way down to 6th. So we just take what we get and hopefully build a good season off of this.
Now, if you're like me, you might be a little confused. I mean, 5th place doesn't sound too bad, right? Jeremiah Jensen with KSL Sports spoke to Andy and Amanda today on Utah's Morning News, explaining why fans are so disappointed with the lottery draft results.
While the odds were that this outcome was going to be this way, 47.5%, and only 14% that they were going to win this lottery, after going through a 17-65 season, there was just so much hope for Jazz fans that they were going to land the number 1 pick, and it was all going to be worth it. And the reality was crushing last night that they're going to pick 5th, which, I'm sure they'll find a nice player at 5, but it's not going to be a franchise-altering player. It's not going to be a star player, most likely. So, yeah, it was a pretty gutting experience last night watching that play out.
After the lottery draft, Jazz general manager Justin Zanuck did his best to sound optimistic.
Of course, everyone has high hopes. In reality, it was a 14% chance to get the number 1 pick. Frankly, another team, obviously, with a lot less odds than us. They were the first time they got the number 1 pick tonight, too. But the rebuild is on track. It always has been. Whether, we got number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, this is a good young player in a very, very good draft that we're excited about. And so take this opportunity that we've been given and make the best of it in terms of making the best selection that we can and make the best decisions to move this organization into a championship competitive place.
Zanuck says the work to get the best possible player that they can in the draft has been in the works for a long time, and there are always the draft picks that they have saved up, which means they could make some deals come draft day.
This week at the Combine is going to be really, really productive for our staff, especially our scouting staff, to see these guys up close. We have Coach Hardy here and Danny and myself, along with our staff, so we have a bunch of interviews to do, get to see these guys and start talking to them in person and really start drilling down on the possibilities. In reality, this is another young player, an asset that we can add to our team, and this is one of the main reasons that we have decided to stay flexible and have a bunch of assets here to be able to move up, move down, and really put together pieces and find the right combination of players to take this organization forward, and the number 5 pick is certainly a part of that.
The Jazz organization now has work to do before draft day, which is June 25th. But looking long-term, what does this mean for the team?
There's also possibilities that the Jazz could trade the pick and do different things. So not all hope is lost. It's just I think everyone's heart was set on getting Cooper Flagg and having him be the face of the franchise moving forward. That's not going to happen unless by some crazy reason the Mavericks end up trading the pick, which they're probably not going to do.
They've never made a crazy trade before, JJ, so that's completely impossible.
In related news, businesses and restaurants around the Delta Center are already noticing a decrease in the number of people stopping in since the remodel work began just a short time ago. Savannah Palmer is a lead server at The Break, and she tells KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff about this noticeable decrease in foot traffic.
Being a business that thrives on Delta Center events and events downtown, the games, the concerts, all of that, business has slowed down a little bit. And so it's been interesting to see what kind of crowds we get in, a lot of out-of-towners and stuff. So with the Delta Center being under construction and not having any concerts or anything like that, it's slowed us down a little bit. But we still are seeing a little bit of business from the construction workers, and that's been helpful. So we get a little lunch rush and everything. And then what has really also been saving us is a lot of events also at the Salt Lake Convention Center. So that's been helpful too. But we're definitely, we're ready for October to come and Delta Center to be open again and get jazz games going, concerts, hockey games, all of that fun stuff, because we really thrive here on those.
She says business typically drops a little during the summer, but this year has been worse than previous years since people aren't stopping by while waiting for their Uber or waiting for the traffic to die down before leaving downtown. And she is just a bit concerned about the plans for a plaza on 3rd West.
I think what they want to do with the whole 300 West and the whole plaza, I think generally it'll bring a lot more business. It just might take a little bit longer for that business to generate and stuff. But I don't know, could go either way.
Meantime, server Joseph Gallegos isn't letting the Jazz's 5th pick in the draft get him down.
So we could actually move up and get whatever we need. I think this year, what do we have? Dwayne Wade, Danny Ainge in our corner over here. So, like, look where Boston's at now. Look what Danny Ainge did with Boston. So I'm excited for that. I know everyone's like, he's a loose cannon and stuff, but sometimes that makes the great ones. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit of the same way. You know, I'm just being me. You know, so. Yeah, we want it to get busier down here. It's been phenomenal this last year, and the Jazz, since we were slow, I mean, you've seen a decent Jazz crowd down here, but the crowd, the hockey fans, man, they came for this first year. It's been amazing. I'm not even that much of a hockey fan, but I am now. And then I'm looking at our new logo with the mammoth, and I was like, wow, this is gonna be amazing, because I didn't even know. I was thinking we were gonna get Yeti. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about mammoth. For some reason, I was thinking of some little, like a moth or something. I don't know. But when I saw the logo and I seen the mountains in it, I was like, okay, what's going to be our little logo thing here? You know what I mean? Like Tuss Ups. I'm like, Tuss Up. You know, we need to come up with that. So, but yeah, it's going to be. I think this whole year is going to be fun with the 5th pick and all our trades we got. Danny Ainge and Wade in our corner, and with the players we got, and how the hockey team and the Jazz team. They bond with each other. You know what I mean? They're friends and buddies. So it's like a big community down here. Like they're being treated way better than they were in Arizona. I know that. Even all the NHL fans say, dude, we're glad to see them over here in a good town. So I know everybody's happy about it.
He says they will need the community support during the summer construction season, though. And he says it's safe for both of them to say that they can't wait for the arena to reopen in October. Stay with us. We'll be back with a look at a new scam using .gov's web addresses. More on that in just 60 seconds.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Are you struggling with pain in your feet, ankles, knees, hips, or lower back? At the Good Feet store, we recommend having high-quality support in all of your shoes. Our personalized arch support system has helped countless people find relief, like Karen. Here is her Good Feet story.
After I decided my pain was too much, and my doctor actually suggested that I do visit the Good Feet store. Pretty amazing when they put the arch supports in your shoe and you walk around and you realize there's not pain, and you think, how can this arch support in my shoe make my back pain go away? But it works. And how can it make my knee pain go away? It was incredible.
Come to the Good Feet store today and see what we can do for you. Good Feet arch supports are in stock and available in over 300 different styles and sizes.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Stop in today at the Good Feet store.
Thanks for being with me today on Midday. Scams, they seem to be a dime a dozen nowadays. You've heard all the tips to avoid scams. Check the URL, don't click links and emails from people you don't know. If someone calls you for money saying they're in trouble, hang up and call that person directly. And of course, don't pay any kind of fine that asks for things like gift cards. But what happens when you follow all the rules and the scam still looks legitimate? As KSL investigator Matt Gephardt found out, scams are getting smarter every day.
KSL viewer Shannon sent me this screenshot.
It is a text message saying that she owes a fine to the Utah Department of Transportation. And look at that URL. Shannon writes, Utah.gov looks official. It makes me anxious to get these texts. To read they're coming from my state is scary.
What it appears on the text may not actually be where you're actually sending it.
I took Shannon's text to Special Agent Juan Garcia with the FBI. First of all, yes, Shannon, this is definitely a phishing scam. Once you click the link, a fake website made to look like it's UDOT will ask you to log in or pay a toll.
It seems like they're using the actual website of the actual legitimate organization or company, and yet somehow phishing. Do you know how they're able to do that?
Yeah, what happens is it's an injection of the code.
Let's break down exactly how it works. The scam message includes this URL. It looks official at first glance, but it is not a real .gov domain. Real government sites end in .gov, like utah.gov or irs.gov. In this scam, the domain is gov-etcxm.cc, which is a completely fake domain owned by the scammer.
I think the main thing is when you think something looks weird, I would say do your diligence as far as looking at the domain.
Yes, but bear in mind, you do not have to be official to create an official website, as I learned in a previous investigation. For example, you cannot assume that a .org belongs to a nonprofit or a charity.
Look at this, it wrote my mission statement for me. We focus on making the maximum positive effort for our community.
With just a few clicks, I was able to register a website, mattgephardt.org. And while I like to think of myself as a charitable person, I can assure you I am in no way an official charity.
For more tips on how to avoid scams, check out the Division of Consumer Protection within the Utah Department of Commerce. A list of tips and common scams can be found at dcp.utah.gov. When a stroke strikes, just a few minutes delay can result in long-term irreparable damage. Lucky for Utah, we have the fastest stroke response rates. More on that in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at traffic brought to you by Mountain America's My Style Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
We do have a right lane blocked with road work, and it's causing a little bit of slowing southbound I-15 approaching 6 North, but that's it for your Valley freeways in Utah County. An accident eastbound on Highway 6. It's a couple of miles east of Sheep Creek in Utah County. Keep an eye out for that. Connect your family with nature this spring. Container gardening with plants from Olson's Greenhouse will get them off their screens and out in the yard. For tips and ideas, visit ogg.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Have a minute?
I love Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News. It's more of a personal take on the news from Jeff.
Get caught up on the latest news and hear Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News for thought-provoking, playful commentary.
It's usually funny. Like he's said before, it varies from day to day, and it's always entertaining.
My Minute of News, it puts a smile on my face.
If you have a minute, you need to catch Jeff's Minute. My Minute of News, weekdays from 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Summer is just around the corner. Kickstart your next great adventure during Motorsportsland RV Center's huge pre-Memorial Day sale. Save big on hundreds of RVs, travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motorhomes, all priced to move before the holiday rush. Get camping ready with travel trailers from just $6 a day, or upgrade to a luxury RV and save thousands. Unlike other dealers, we don't sneak in hidden fees for freight, prep, or orientation. What you see is what you pay. Every RV comes with free training, so you're adventure ready the moment you leave the lot. With flexible financing, upfront pricing, and Utah's best selection, your summer adventure starts at a Motorsportsland RV Center. Hurry into Mill Creek or Spanish Fork, or visit motorsportsland.com and let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Motorsportsland.com.
Do you need new windows? Look,
All glass pretty much looks the same to the naked eye, but if your windows aren't triple-coated, argon-filled and sealed double-pane glass, the cold is seeping in. You need to call Advanced Window Products. They use the highest quality glass and premium vinyl to create state-of-the-art windows and frames, and for 38 years, they build those frames right here in Utah. Custom crafted for Utah's climate. The best windows you can buy at prices 30 and 40% less than what the big companies charge because they cut out the middleman. They're the factory. They even give you a lifetime warranty, and right now as we head into spring, save an extra $2,500 off 10 windows or more. Custom windows that'll give your house a fresh new look and save you money on your heating and air conditioning. Advanced Windows offers 60-month 0% financing, even buy now, pay later, and an extra $2,500 off. Call for a quote. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning, life, and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
You were listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. Utah is the best place to live if you're having a stroke. The American Heart Association says Utah tops their list of states that treat strokes in a timely manner. Medical Director of the Comprehensive Stroke Program at Intermountain Medical Center, Paul Johnson, spoke about stroke care and response in the state, saying that in the end, speed plays a super important role.
So stroke is a very time-sensitive disease. When somebody's having a stroke, it's just a matter of time until you've had a permanent brain injury. So the sooner somebody comes to the hospital, the more quickly we can prevent the stroke from happening and prevent that permanent brain injury. So we often say in the stroke world that time is brain. So every minute that you delay care costs brain cells. The sooner that somebody comes into the hospital, the sooner that we can intervene and prevent that injury from happening.
Ted Itchon from West Valley City is one of the success stories because his wife quickly called 911. His stroke struck without warning.
I got up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and when I went to the bathroom, I couldn't move to the toilet. And I kind of moved down, and I sat on the tub, which is close to the toilet. And then I tried to get up, and then I fell. My face hit the floor. And I guess I was there for a minute or two, and then Ann showed up. And she asked me a question, and I tried to tell her what happened, and I couldn't. All I could remember is hearing me mumble, and that was it. And then she looked, and I remember her saying that I'm going to call 911. And I thought to myself, well, that's good. And from there, it felt like a few minutes, and EMS showed up, and they took me out, and they put me on it's like a gurney, but it's sling. And they drug me out of the bathroom, down the hall, and out to the stretcher. And that was the last I could remember. I remember somebody saying he had a stroke, and that was it. And I don't remember anything else except for waking up in the in the hospital room.
And see, I remember because I heard him get up and something told me not to go back to sleep. So then when he went to the bathroom and I heard him fall, I jump up and go to him and find him flat, face down on the floor with his head was bleeding a bit. And I couldn't move him and he was just moaning. So then that's when I called 911. And as they were taking him out, I heard him say, it's possible, I think he's having a stroke, but it didn't connect to me until I was here. And that when I got here, they told me that he had a stroke, and that's when it really hit me. And they said, you can see him in a minute, they're prepping him for surgery. And I don't know what else they said because it was such a blur. Later on, when he was in surgery, I did call my sister. She's a nurse practitioner. And she was working from home that day, so she came. So she could help me figure out what they were saying and what everything was going on because nothing was connecting. But because I found him fast and we called 911 and they got him fast and started everything, that's why you couldn't tell that he's had a stroke.
Intermountain Health has implemented changes such as having the blood clot dissolving medication pre-mixed, expediting CT scans, and improving the emergency department workflow overall. The healthcare system also has a stroke neurologist on staff 24/7 to ensure patients can be diagnosed and treated as quickly as possible. While strokes can happen to anybody, Dr. Johnson says they do mostly occur in older people. Itchon spent 4 days in the hospital, and despite his good outcome, his recovery still included months of therapy.
It's been such a change, and I've seen other people who have strokes turn out to be less than what I am, and I thank God that I had the medical dealings, and it was, I don't know what else.
It was, we have seen people who had stroke that's worse. With him, he just has a drop foot, and he's doing acupuncture right now for it, but he also went to speech, and not because of his speech, he could speak, it was the words, he could tell you what he wanted to say, but it wasn't coming out. So I have learned when he was doing speech some things to do for him so that he can come up with the words. And that's mainly, and his short-term memory is short. Shorter than normal. But that's, most people, if you don't tell them that he's had a stroke, they don't know. So it's, he was working on speech for, good heavens, let's say probably 6 months to 8 months, just on the speech. And the physical therapy wasn't too much, but it was mainly the speech that he had the problem with.
And it was frustrating because I knew what I wanted to say and I couldn't find the words. And it was terrible.
The American Heart Association says Utah has been able to administer stroke medication within the recommended 45-minute window over 87% of the time, the best record in the country. Itchon is incredibly grateful for the quick action of the EMTs, the doctors, but mostly for his wife.
I think if it wasn't for Ann and her diligence, her quickness of calling 911, I would probably be less than what I am now. So I thank my wife.
Now, the signs of stroke include sudden severe balance problems, eye problems, so vision loss on one side or the other, facial droop, arm weakness, and speech problems. If that happens, call 911 immediately. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. How seclusion in school practices are affecting Utah students. Senator Curtis pining to get more technology businesses in Utah and KSL traffic. Ricky?
Road work causing a little bit of slowing. Southbound I-15 blocking a right lane approaching 6 North, and expect some delays. Maria?
First, our top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A federal judge heard arguments today in the challenge to President Trump's 10% global tariff.
The argument played out over roughly 2 hours in a New York federal courtroom. The 3-judge panel of the U.S. Court of International Trade heard an attorney for small businesses arguing that the president has overstepped, invoking emergency powers to impose his tariffs. A lawyer for the Justice Department countered by saying Congress gave presidents the power to declare emergencies, and the courts can't second-guess their decisions.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. President Trump's Mideast trip began today in Saudi Arabia. He delivered a speech at an investment forum announcing a $600 billion investment by Saudi Arabia into U.S. ventures, and also says he will lift sanctions on Syria. The Consumer Price Index showing Americans paid about 2.3% more for just about everything in April than they were a year ago. That's slightly lower than what analysts expected despite tariffs. AAA says 3% more people will drive this holiday compared to last year. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story, fluoride supplements could be gone by the end of the year if Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy gets his way. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The possible ban comes after Utah's been ordered to stop adding fluoride to the public water supplies. The same bill banning it makes it easier for pharmacies to prescribe the supplements to parents and other people who want to keep using them. Assistant Director of the Utah Dental Association, Becky Waters, says it makes sense for Americans to use the supplements because of our diets.
We need to do everything we can to counteract the effects of the high sugar, the high acid diets that we take in.
Waters says the lack of fluoride can create a long line of dental problems in the future.
The possible ban is part of Kennedy's Make America Healthy Again agenda, which he says is long overdue. University of Utah is helping to find solutions for healthy aging. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
The university will be evaluating data submitted as part of a 7-year competition to increase healthy aging. The U's Data Coordinating Center will be working with the teams from around the world, analyzing, collecting, and processing data. The competition, run by X Prize, is called Healthy Aging Made Possible and will award a $101 million prize to the winner. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
John Butcher, a Sandy City Public Works employee, is being called a hero after jumping quickly into action to help a homeowner whose home was on fire. When he arrived, the homeowner's wife was still in the house.
So I just told him we need to get in there and try to get her out. So we went through the garage, smoke was just pouring out, and it was extremely hard to see as we entered the garage. I could hear her voice at that point, and luckily enough that she had crawled to the back door between the garage and the home, and that's where we found her. So at that point, I just scooped her up and was going to turn and go back out.
With his help, the homeowners escaped with only minor burns. Other local stories KSL is following. A man was shot by police in Ogden early this morning, just after 2. An Ogden officer spotted a man walking in the street near Wall Avenue and 22nd Street. Police say the man pulled 2 knives from his pockets. The officer asked him to stop and shot at the suspect when he kept advancing. The 37-year-old man was rushed to the hospital. He is expected to survive. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day down by 269 points, sitting at 42,140. S&P up by 42 points. The NASDAQ, the big winner, up by 301 points. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. What's happening on the roads, Ricky?
I don't have an accident reported, but something is definitely causing some slowing on southbound I-15 from the South Interchange to 7200 South. And then we have slow speed southbound I-15 approaching 6 North. That is due to a right lane blocked with road work. Traffic's rough, but your parking lot doesn't have to be. GoPave Utah keeps things smooth with expert asphalt maintenance. GoPaveUtah.com. That's GoPaveUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Well, you're starting to see some rain in downtown Salt Lake City. We do have a 50% chance of rain for the rest of the day, increasing to 60% chance tomorrow, and about the same temperature for a high tomorrow, 60 degrees. Right now, 48 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
Are you looking for the perfect downtown lunch spot? The Garden Restaurant at Temple Square is opening on June 30th in Salt Lake City. Enjoy a reimagined space and a fresh, healthy menu featuring handcrafted sandwiches, rich soups, unique salads, and their famous homemade pot pies. You'll see and taste the difference in every menu item. The Garden is perfect for lunch meetings, taking a break while out shopping, or a spring stroll downtown. Visit the reimagined space with remarkable taste. Grab and go or stay and dine in using a new online ordering option. Find entry from the ground floor of the Joseph Smith Memorial Building, open Monday through Friday, 11 to 3. Visit thegardenslc.com to learn more. Fresh flavors, iconic location. The Garden Restaurant at Temple Square is opening June 30th. Hope to see you there. thegardenslc.com.
Summer is right around the corner.
It's time to spring into summer with Soda Weight Loss. Today is a new day.
And a big day for you.
Why?
Why?
Because right now, you'll get our biggest discount of the year.
Do you know how good it feels to let go of 51 pounds of belly fat? And I did it without drugs, shots, or hunger. Because Soda Weight Loss works. Just look at all the Google reviews and all the thousands of before and after pictures.
Soda Weight Loss has one goal, and that's to help you let go of the weight for good.
So I lost 25 pounds. I was never hungry. It was very, very easy. I couldn't believe how fast the weight came off.
Now is the time to join America's #1 weight loss company for client satisfaction and results.
Hurry. Savings won't last long.
Let's go.
Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
You were listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. In Utah, students can legally be isolated in a small room for up to 30 minutes if they present an immediate danger to themselves or others. It's called seclusion in schools. But the most common reason schools list raises questions about its use. KSL investigator Courtney Johns took a look at how seclusion is being used and the new law that limits its use.
9-year-old Mark Stovall loves games.
My favorite card game is going to be Pokemon or Pikachu.
And like Pikachu, Mark has powers.
He's like the first one in the family to notice if I'm having a hard day.
His parents, Dakin and John Stovall, say his autism allows him to feel things differently. And sometimes those feelings are big.
When I'm like super mad, it's like a nightmare for everyone.
He calls it nightmare mode. And when that happened at Amelia Earhart Elementary in Provo, adults put him in a small room the size of a closet. It's called seclusion. On his first day of 3rd grade, it happened at least 8 times. Mark was 8.
I never felt good about it, but I trusted them.
Dakin says she lost all trust when Mark developed PTSD, and she recorded a conversation with him in April of 2024 talking about it.
Tell me what happens when you go in there.
When I'm mad and they put me in there, I get more madder. They just like pushed me into jail.
And I never sent him back.
In Utah, seclusion is only allowed if the student presents an immediate danger to themselves or others and can only last 30 minutes at a time. Over 5 months, Mark's school documented putting him into seclusion more than 20 times for behaviors including biting and hitting staff, tipping a table, tearing paper, and refusing to do work.
It wasn't always clear what the line was about what is too unsafe.
Schools are required to report all seclusions, including the reasons, to the Utah State Board of Education.
We analyzed roughly 4 years worth of statewide data, and we found disruption is listed in roughly half of all of those cases. The third most common infraction is other. So we wanted to know, do all of these cases rise to the level of danger that is legally required to isolate a student? We took our findings to Chris Ann Lewis, who oversees physical and mental health initiatives for the board.
Is this a data issue, or is this that we have this many cases of seclusion that are going against state code?
At this point, we don't know.
When we spoke in January, she told us they were considering revising the definition of disruption or removing disruption and other as options because of their ambiguity.
We don't want it misused. We want it to be used as outlined in code.
But months later, as another school year wraps up, no change has been made.
It's not being consistent on the practice.
This year, State Senator Luz Escamilla sponsored a bill to address seclusion use in school. Initially, it pushed for an outright ban, but she says people working in special education told her they need seclusion.
There are going to be situations where our teachers, our administrators, our educators need a tool to handle when a situation escalates and a student needs that help, and parents are not going to get there within seconds or minutes.
This month, her bill became law. It bans seclusion in kindergarten, requires parental notification within 15 minutes, and makes certain violations punishable up to 6 months in jail.
Got one more turn.
Mark's parents asked the state board to review their son's case. A decision issued last year found one violation for not documenting all seclusions. Provo School District had to complete 1 hour of virtual training. But the KSL investigators also found an issue with communication. Staff did not contact Mark's parents in the required time frame on 6 occasions. The board told us an investigator noted noncompliance, but that was not included in the decision.
I hate it when I'm in the room.
Mark just finished 4th grade at a different school where he has had 2 nightmare mode moments, during which his parents say he was given space and empathy.
So we've begun a healing journey.
Is there enough for everyone?
A journey his family says they hope will educate others.
And we can choose to react one way and kind of shut out these children and to other them, or and we can choose to embrace them and help them the way that they need help.
Joining me to go more in depth on the story and give a behind-the-scenes look is KSL investigator Courtney Johns. Courtney, you were telling me you spent months working on this story.
Yes, thank you for having me. We first came across this, I want to say in August of last year. We had a different family reach out to us. I had been aware of seclusion for several years back when I was reporting in Iowa, and I was kind of surprised because when I worked in Iowa, they were working to try and eliminate it, and I didn't realize that it was still going on. And I think that's kind of the reaction a lot of people have, as they say, is this is going on. So you either have no idea seclusion exists in schools, or you do because your child has been secluded. There's no middle ground. And so we spent a lot of time trying to find families that were willing to talk, because I think it's a really difficult thing to talk about, whether your child has been secluded or you work in a school where seclusion happens. It's not easy to talk about.
Okay, let's go back to the closet, though.
Yes.
Are we talking just a small box? What are we talking about?
So that's a really good question, because legally seclusion, it's not necessarily a specific space. It's just it's a place where a child is put in by themselves that they cannot leave. In Utah, they are not allowed to lock the door, but they are able to hold the door shut. So technically, any room can be considered a seclusion room so long as no one else is in that room and the child cannot leave. So we have seen, for example, when I worked in Iowa, it was closets, and they basically would pin up old gym floor mats to the walls, because if someone is in duress, they might be banging their body up against the walls, and so they want to create some padding there. What I came across here at some of the schools is they had almost mobile seclusion rooms where you could wheel them out, but those looked to be about the size of a porta potty. And in other schools, they've reinforced closets because obviously they don't have a lot of space at these schools, so they're not using a full room. But it really can be any size, but that's actually something that Senator Escamilla is looking into for the next legislative session, is saying, can we define these rooms and give specifics on them so that we do have expectations for them?
We only have about 30 seconds, but I'm just wondering, I've never heard of this. Is it possible parents don't even know that their child has been in seclusion?
Legally, parents are supposed to be informed. Especially after this new law, parents are supposed to be informed within 15 minutes of their child being secluded. But do you know if a seclusion room is in your school? Absolutely not. You need to ask your school if they have a seclusion room in there. And because this is an emergency intervention, you really don't have any say if your child will be secluded. So I think that's important information to ask when you're looking at a school, and make sure that you understand how that works at your school.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me. And again, that is KSL investigator Courtney Johns. And we'll be back in just 60 seconds with more on Midday.
You know, in Box Elder County, they're all about the bucket list. Want to go birding at the premier birding destination in the western United States? Well, check off the Bear River Migratory Bird Refuge. How about land art? The spiral jetty and sun tunnels will leave you inspired. Or stand on the spot where the Union and Central Pacific Railroads joined and forged the destiny of a nation. Yep, Golden Spike National Historical Park is like no other place. Check. Splash, boat, camp, or fish your day away? Willard Bay State Park will guarantee a good time. Soak in a natural hot spring with the highest mineral content in the world? That would be Crystal Hot Springs. You'll feel rejuvenated. Eat at Utah's original steakhouse. Maddox Ranch House is perfection. Check. A 1920s diner. The Idle Owl Cafe will transport you back in time. As you empty your Box Elder County bucket list, you'll find a whole new set of adventures to fill it up again. Fill up your bucket list at visitboxeldercounty.com.
This is Midday. Senator John Curtis is pining for Utah to become more involved in the tech sector, especially as it relates to artificial intelligence. Here he is speaking with OpenAI CEO Sam Altman.
Utah would aspire to lead out with data centers and advanced technologies. Could you just address for states and Utah specifically what it is that makes them attractive to projects like Stargate?
Yeah, and I know that we're having productive discussions about some potential sites in Utah. Power, cooling, fast permitting process, labor force that can build these things, the electricians, the construction workers, the entire stack. A state that wants to partner with us to move quickly. Texas really has been unbelievable on this. I think that would be a good thing for other states to study, but we'd be excited to try to figure something out.
Thank you. I think I could speak for our state leaders. We would be excited as well.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent from Alpine Home Medical, and I'm humbled to win Utah's Best of State for 2025 for the 15th year in a row. After 28 years, we're all about you. Over 1,700 five-star Google reviews and a 4.8 customer satisfaction score to prove it. We'll keep working hard for you. I've spent this year advocating with lawmakers for better Medicare reimbursement, ensuring you always have the best access to medical supplies you need. From Idaho Falls to St. George, our 11 stores are your home for comfort. When you hear Alpine Home Medical, think of that best of state experience every single time. Visit us online at alpinehomemedical.com. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
Join KSL in the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1 at the Salt Lake NPS store, 1600 Empire Road in Salt Lake City, npsstore.com.
Troy, can you believe Memorial Day is almost here?
Pretty exciting.
Pretty exciting?
Yeah.
That's all you got for the official start to camping season and our entire reason for living?
I am excited, yes. What do you want from me?
Get pumped, man. It's camping Christmas. Kind of a big deal.
Oh, it's a huge flippin' deal. That's why Bish's is already celebrating Memorial Day with big deals on all RVs. We're selling travel trailers starting under $139 per month on approved credit.
And don't forget no tariff fees on new in-stock RVs.
Plus 90 days of all play and no pay OAC.
And clearance pricing on all remaining 2024s while they last.
We're even delivering select RVs same day so you can camp right away.
Same day camping? That is a big flippin' deal.
Told you, camping season is a big deal. So come get the real big deals during the Memorial Day sales event happening right now at Bish's RV of Salt Lake and American Fork, where memories begin.
Based on approved credit, 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock numbers 90452-81733. Subject to prior sale. See dealer for details.
Do you have chirping smoke detectors? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you've ever experienced chirping smoke detectors, you already know how annoying it can be. A great first step to try and stop the chirping is to change the batteries. If the chirping continues, it's possible that your smoke detector has gone bad. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't even realize that manufacturers recommend replacing the smoke detector altogether after 10 years. If you remove the smoke detector from the wall, on the back you should find a date of when it was made. Do a little math and you'll know how old it is. Now, Any Hour Services knows being a homeowner means you've got a list a mile long of things to do around the house, and check my electrical system probably isn't one of them. That's why we've put together this radio special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive inspection of your electrical system that includes testing those smoke detectors and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. Call Any Hour Services to schedule it. 801-443-7300. 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Let's end Midday today with a heartwarming story of a mom and daughter who just went through graduation together. The daughter receiving her doctorate and her 79-year-old mom taking the final course to get her bachelor's degree. KSL 5 TV's Deanie Wimmer has the story on this family effort.
An assisted living center here in Lehigh may seem like a strange place to talk to a college graduate, but this is the story of a graduate who never gave up on her dream. Connie, show me your diploma. Yay! What went through your mind when they handed that to you?
Oh, I was just thinking, Aaron, don't drop me off this stage.
That's not what you were thinking. You were proud of yourself.
Well, I know, but I was very proud. It was a good moment.
You worked a long time for that.
A long time, years and years and years. And I thought it was way out of my hand. I was in a bed here and I wasn't supposed to get out, and I thought, what can I do? I can't hear, I can't move my hands, I can't even write my name, I can't walk. What could I possibly do? I always loved to help serve people. I couldn't even serve people anymore. And I thought, I'm going to talk to Aaron and see if there's any chance. I know it was the Lord putting it in my mind. And see if there's any way I can sign up to take that last statistics class.
It was statistics. It's
always statistics.
It's always for all of us, right?
Yeah.
She had said she'd tried a couple times to pass statistics and wasn't able to. And
well, I never got to the point where I had to pass. I just couldn't get enthused about it. 2 years I took it. And at that time, and that was 25 years ago, they didn't have the online ability that we have now. I mean, it's night and day different now, and so much support I got from everybody at BYU and my family. And well, anyway, it
was meant to be, because there's not probably. Amber and I were able to help her through that class. I work for BYU Continuing Education. I'm the Director of Student Success, so it's my job to help people.
Isn't that an interesting connection?
It's not a coincidence.
Right. And was it always the plan that you would graduate on the same day?
No, not at all. She had a year to finish stats, and she started in October, and we thought it might take her a year. And Amber was coming over and opening up her computer couple mornings a week and watching the videos with her and helping her to understand it. And
so you were a tutor, a free tutor?
Very good tutor.
Yeah, with the computer part, her hands don't work very well, so she wasn't able to maneuver that part of it.
So I know you children got in the way of all of this. You had 8 kids?
I had 8 children, and I got married right out of high school, and my husband graduated from Hawaii. And then we had 8 children.
And it was always your desire?
Yeah, well, all of a sudden, it was the same sort of thing. I had never thought too much about it. All of a sudden, one day, I woke up and told my husband, I want to be a nurse. And he said, a nurse? Why a nurse? I said, I don't know. I just know that's what I'm supposed to do. So I went to Weber State and got my associate degree.
When I was in high school, she did that.
In 1986.
And you had a long career as a nurse.
Yeah, she did. She ran her own business, home health agency, and we all worked for it, and she did a good job.
Yeah, I have really core memories of, as a teenager, watching her study. I think she graduated from Weber State with a 4.0. She worked really hard.
Wasn't that influential on you as a child, as a teenager?
Yeah, I think we saw really early how important
I think I got a
education
B
was to
plus
her.
one time.
Of one time.
But I don't think that you can discount that going off into other generations, and here I am, way old. Not quite as old as you, Mom, but old for a PhD, and you kind of hope that you will kind of set that example.
It's interesting. I got a birthday card, from Hannah, one of my grandchildren, who's got her master's degree now and always been very successful. And she told me what a good grandma I'd been and everything. And then at the end, she said, and I'm so glad that your good choices have trickled down to me. And I thought our choices do trickle down to our kids.
At least we hope they do.
Whether they're good or whether they're bad.
And so that's why you really wanted to go back and get that formal degree.
Well, I always thought I would, and then I was just, the economy was, and I needed to go to work to support these kids going to school.
Erin, as someone whose job it is to ensure student success, how satisfying is that to...
It was a good full circle moment for me to realize that, okay, she can do that, and really passionate about people being able to go back to school and finish a stats class, which is the worst. I mean, people can do it. Yeah. And the way that we have it set up with online learning and flexibility, there's just no reason to
I'll tell you what
say no.
BYU did. I am very handicapped in terms of what I can do and where I can move and that. And they gave me every single...
We got her as many accommodations as she qualified for.
And it made it possible.
It makes it possible, and I think that's the
so
message to
people need to know if they're having trouble seeing, if they're having trouble with computer, if they're having trouble with any kind of movement, anything, they can help you.
Connie says if she can do it, anyone can do it. Thank you so much for being with us for Midday today. Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon, 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. We have showers around Salt Lake City. It's 48 degrees. KSL's top story. A frightening encounter in Ogden overnight where a man armed with knives was shot by police. It was one of 2 shootings involving officers overnight. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera begins our live team coverage. He's outside the Ogden Police Department with details. Eric?
Jeff, this could have turned deadly. Just after 2 a.m., police say an Ogden officer saw a man walking in the street near 2200 Wall Avenue. When the officer approached, the man suddenly pulled out 2 knives and moved toward him. Despite repeated commands to stop, he kept coming, and the officer, who was alone, opened fire. The 37-year-old man was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive.
The involved officer, a 2-year veteran of the department, was thankfully uninjured. He has been placed on administrative leave, which is standard protocol following an...
Between that officer and that individual, and our officer fired at least 1 shot.
People living in the Beverly apartments across the street can't believe it happened as they slept.
That's crazy.